way the game is played,
what these
with
men
all the
did.
responsibility he has and how the game flows
He
through
too
him, if he's not on
would
the
have
top
had
of his game,
probable cause to
your team's
arrest
not going to benefit
Ahmaud
at all.
Arbery for the crime of burglary. There's no doubt he would have and tried to stop Ahmaud Arbery, and there's no doubt of February 11th that Officer Red at the ready and not taking any chances. And I suspect, in your minds, there would be no doubt that Ahmaud Arbery would have known exactly why he was being chased. Because there can be little doubt as well that Ahmaud Arbery knew exactly why the McMichaels were trying to detain him on February 23rd.
The Cardinals making their way out, and it's the #1 overall pick in 2019, Kyler Murray at the helm.
He had the
Truth
numbers
of
in the
life
game last
is
week.
that it's
That if
very
you win,
complicated.
you talk about him being a gritty guy, managing the game,
A
getting it
beautiful
done, but they
teenager
lost.
with a
So
broad
obviously, 2
smile
interceptions, 1 touchdown
and a
pass,
perfect
that's not going to
baseball
be
bat.
good enough. Got to get that
Can go
changed
astray.
around.
He could deteriorate and lose his way. And years later,
First
he can
down,
end up
Murray.
creeping into a home that is not his own. He's running away instead of facing the consequences. Acting erratically in his
Defense
coach
for the Titans. They were
and
excellent a
making
week ago in that victory
terrible,
over Indianapolis.
This
unexpected
defense certainly has a lot to be proud of coming off of
decisions.
last week's game, because when you only give up 14 points
But a
in a
mother's
contest,
love doesn't
you give your team
fade
a great chance to win. The
from
best
that
defense in the
beautiful
league is
boy
usually going to average
in the
giving
ball
18, 19 points a game. So
to
to
the
be
young
under that,
intruder.
a terrific achievement.
Now a deep ball
And
there on
sadly,
second
no
down.
verdict
That'll wind up incomplete.
can change the
Third
degree
this opening
of
drive
that
as they're
future
looking at a third
not
and
realized.
3.
The hope
To
that
throw
he
is
could
Murray.
have turned himself around. Because all we can guess about the young man
Did he keep the feet in? Yes, he got him.
is that his teenage years were full of promise,
Good enough for a first down.
but his early 20s
Really nice
just
gain at
led him
25.
into
On third down and short yardage,
the
they
facts
your tight end is just gonna be
presented in
simple
this
change.
trial
But this time they let him
bear
run down the
no
field. Nice
resemblance
dart, picks up the first
to the
down,
story
and
that
then
the
some.
state told you in
Murray's going to
opening
keep it
statement.
again. And he'll lose yardage
A
here.
25-year-old
Yikes, a
who met a
40-yard loss
brutal
really sets
death
him back now for second
after
down.
being chased and killed by residents of a neighborhood who wanted nothing more than to murder him
Stopping him for a loss.
for having the audacity to jog in their neighborhood. Not a single piece
So
of
a step in
evidence
the
that's
wrong
been
direction.
presented
Now
to
they'll
you in
look to
this
make it
entire
on
trial
second and 14.
supports such a hateful
Murray
and
down to
gruesome
throw.
sacrifice. Turning Ahmaud Arbery into a victim
8 yards on the
after
completion.
the choices that he made does not reflect the reality of what brought Ahmaud Arbery to Satilla Shores. His khaki shorts
The line to gain is the
with no
33
socks
on third down.
to cover his long, dirty tongue.
Here's Murray. Screen
There
pass
were
to
no steps of decision makers on February 23rd.
zone before he crosses over out of bounds.
It is not just the McMichaels' decisions that led to this tragedy. And it is a tragedy. I see it in your faces, and I have felt it in mine. A young life lost, even parents.
Down. They sack him back right around the 30.
Greg and Travis didn't have to do anything on February 23rd. Greg could have looked up
It's been in
from his
tatters
boat
lately. They
fishing,
allowed 6 sacks in their
saw
last game.
Ahmaud
Just gave up
Arbery
another one right there.
and shrugged his
Tanner,
shoulders.
so it sounds a little bit like this right now.
Maybe call 911,
Exactly. It's like that paper being ripped.
maybe call
Right now, they
Officer
got to find a
Rash,
way to get it back together.
maybe text Diego
Some hot
Perez,
water now after
and the
that
fear
sack. It's
and
second
the
and
frustration
21.
of this neighborhood will
Another
continue.
try after the first down sack.
But Greg McMichael's driveway decision
That shows this
wasn't the
defense.
only
You might say
decision
they're looking forward to a
that
matchup
set
like
this
this. You like to
tragedy
get a
in
team, I
motion.
would imagine, when they're down, and this is a group that's
Ahmaud
lost four
Arbery
straight.
was not
But
an
their coach made it
innocent
very clear in his
victim.
weekly media
wandering through Larry English's house on February 23rd. Because he wasn't an innocent person. All the other nights, like October 26th, or November 18th, or December 15th, or February 11th. Is he the person responsible for stealing Larry English's expensive boat equipment? I don't know. We don't know. No one investigated. But can anyone reasonably believe that Ahmaud Arbery was just doing a looky-loo on those nights? In what has been described and shown to you as a home drenched in absolute darkness. The judge will instruct you.
And here comes a return from just beyond the goal line. Tackled just shy of 25.
That you must use common sense and reason.
For the first time.
Common sense and reason.
In 2021 from Ohio
there was no legitimate reason for Ahmaud Arbery to be wandering through Larry English's house those 4 nights, and again on the afternoon of February 23rd. Ahmaud didn't live there, he didn't work there, he didn't have friends there, he didn't have a girlfriend there, he wasn't hanging out with a friend in that neighborhood, he was a friend of a friend, he didn't jog through that neighborhood. He was a recurring nighttime intruder, and that is right there and unsettling. A looky-loo in an open, unsecured construction site. Why did we have to withstand that drumbeat? Why? Let's clear a few things up. The judge will charge you that for burglary purposes a dwelling is any structure that is intended for residential use. It makes no difference if it's occupied, being built, under construction, unoccupied, or vacant. And that only makes sense. How could you ever build a home if it wasn't really yours to protect until it was done?
Shit.
For that matter, how could you ever expect your stuff to be safe when your teenager forgets to close the garage door? Really, with all the important law to consider, why the misdirection? Why? And why the insensitivity to the neighbors of Satoshi Shores? It's only a looky-loo when it isn't your neighbor. It's only an open, unsecured construction site when it's not the building of your dream home. He thinks by this impending fatal illness. It's only a property when you're not Susie Lawrence, across the street from that house, living alone, trying to raise 3 rambunctious boys, and you can't even let them outside to play. It's only a property crime. If you're not Diego and Brooklyn, trying to raise 3 little girls safely next door to 2 24. No one but Ahmaud Arbery made the decision to repeatedly and unlawfully enter into that house over and over again. No one but Ahmaud Arbery made the decision to run like the wind when the police car responded to the call from the owner and the neighbor. No one but Ahmaud Arbery made the decision to either reach for or certainly give the very real impression that he was reaching for a handgun on February 11th, and then to yet again run away from the paper. And no one but Ahmaud Arbery made a decision not to stop
25 yards.
when Travis's truck rolled up beside him. To wait to tll the police what he was doing there. Or just plain run away into the woods. Or in the culverts that you'll see all over the state's evidence. Or the open yards, or the open garages, or yell the word help, or just keep going right, straight down until it got right into Officer Minshew's patrol. I realize, probably more than any of you, what an incredibly unpopular thing that is to do. But in a courtroom, with Greg McMichael facing the charge of murder, somebody gotta say,
what do y'all think about this defense attorney?
believe me,
Hey, Pitterfield. Hey, Gabe.
not to cause harm, not to cause pain, but because the truth in this place.
They didn't let me jump and they gonna call pass interference.
Be very clear.
That's bullshit. They wouldn't let me jump.
That Ahmaud Arbery deserved to die for whatever it was he was doing inside 220 Satilla Drive. Because that's not why he died.
Guys have to cover him, and all of them have the
He
same
died
issue. How do you do
because
it
for
without
whatever
interfering? In this case, it didn't
inexplicable,
get done.
Yardage on the play back at the 37
instead of
line.
staying
It's a
in
1 yard loss. That's going to bring up second.
whatever overwhelming reason he had to avoid being captured that day and arrested by the
Loss to
police.
start out. Here's second and 11.
He chose to fight.
From the gun, Murray.
He chose
I am not cross-eyed, and I spoke to you before I started playing the game, George
without any sense of reason to run at a man wielding a shotgun, leaving him with no other alternative.
You heard me speak to everybody, but you didn't answer my question when I asked you, how do you think the defense attorney is doing? Son of a bitch. Leave me alone, Joy.
Greg McMichael had probable cause to all that he saw, all that he heard, all that he knew, to believe reasonably that Ahmaud Arbery had.
I don't know. The guy that spoke before her is doing a better job. She's not
If
like
the
wowing
state
me.
hasn't removed every doubt, every single reasonable, logical doubt in your mind that Greg McMichael was attempting a citizen's arrest, attempting to simply detain Ahmaud Arbery for police on February 23rd, then you have reached your verdict, ladies and gentlemen, on counts 2 through 9.
I was calling the game a son of a bitch because of the play that had happened when they called a pass interference. No, actually when he caught the ball, I was saying son of a bitch.
On citizen's arrest. But
Jeez,
if
Joy.
they have left you wanting
The Titans
to know,
offense set to begin the drive.
if they have left you wanting to inquire into the next steps
This time they're going to
of these offenses, there are still more steps. What are those responses?
That's why I didn't play it around you. I didn't want you to be
Other
scared.
acts in counts 2 through 9, other than the actual shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, could have been the direct cause of Ahmaud Arbery's death. Or
looking downfield for Jones. This throw incomplete, nearly picked off. And with his pedigree, he doesn't drop
Here, Bursitis, let me go and get him out the game.
that it would have played a substantial
He gonna be
and
injured
necessary
again.
part in causing the death. You would have to find that the goal of trying to detain Ahmaud Arbery for the police without using any excessive force, no fist, no discharge of the weapon, before that then the case is over yet again on counts 2 and 9. It would have to be innocent because there would have been no causation between the counts that don't involve the actual discharge of that weapon. Wanted to go one further step.
And it'll be a key to this game as well, protecting the football.
You would have to ask yourself about anything while riding in the back of the pickup truck. As a party to the crime, the state would have to prove to you that Travis McMichael, that Gregory McMichael intentionally helped in the commission of the shooting.
Stop him from
or advised, encouraged, hired, counseled, or procured Travis McMichael to shoot Ahmaud Arbery as he was on the phone with 911 shouting the word no. Without proof beyond a reasonable doubt of all
Wouldn't he pass the line of scrimmage?
All of those elements, the state simply has not met her case. When I sit down, I get no more chance to speak with you, and that's a tough thing for me. I have to know that the state gets the last word. So given the state's opening and some of their cross-examination of witnesses, despite how careful I know you all were with your notepads and pens, with your attention, with your focus, I have to raise a few more things to make sure you notice them, because the stakes are so incredibly high. Ms. Zedekoski told you in her initial closing argument she was afraid that we'd persuade you of the things that we're sharing with you about the state case. I'm afraid that she's going to cherry pick. Cherry picking is this: it's choosing and taking only the most beneficial items from all that's been provided to you and trying to turn that into a fact. Look over there at all the rest of the stuff. Just look at these beautiful cherry picking. Context determines meaning. Stop! Or I'll blow your MFing head off. You heard that from opening statement, and you heard it all the way through the trial. Cross-examination. Versus the actual reality that I think I saw you all write down of what Greg McMichael told Parker Marcy and what the investigators testified about what it really meant and what it really was supposed to have happened. Greg McMichael said that horrible sentence, or something. Stop, he said to the investigator. I said to him, stop, or I'll blow your MFing head off, or something. You didn't hear, or something. But most importantly, what we now know is that Greg McMichael fought in the panic and adrenaline and fear of that horrible situation. He thought that's what he said at the very end of the encounter. Mr. Hogue cross-examined every witness who was with Greg McMichael when he shared that piece of information. The DA wants to make you think, by cherry-picking, that Greg McMichael said that anywhere, anytime, over and over, all through, anywhere through the house. But what those witnesses, those investigators and officers told you is that Greg McMichael was talking about the final encounter. Officer Brandeberry was asked, when did you understand he was telling you he said that? And Officer Brandeberry said, he's talking about the final encounter on Holmes Road. Yes, that's my understanding. Parker Marcy was asked, when would that have occurred? Would that have occurred given the context of the full statement, which because of the laws in this courtroom and around the state of Georgia, you cannot have all of the statement read to you. So there had to be context. And that gets a little dicey. And that's why you have to be extra careful when you're sharing that information with a jury. So Mr. Hope cross-examined those officers to say, let's draw down on when that was supposed to have happened. He said it was supposed to have happened at the final confrontation. The same place where Greg's on the phone with 911? Yes. That's what he thought he said. So whatever he said on 911, Mr. Hope asked the investigator, would that be the most accurate way of knowing what he really said? And that investigator, just like all of you, would say,
I'm on defense, man.
whatever you heard, whatever the state said, whatever you listen to again, there's no resemblance to what Greg McMichael, after a stroke, and the panic, and the fear, and the sadness of those moments when he was interviewed, thought that he said on the 911 call. You are the decider of the facts. You're the ones that are going to have to make the decision about what's true and what's not true about this case. Jason Sheffield said the word red herring, so I went ahead and looked it up.
I didn't know what a red herring was.
And the definition is something that's intended to be misleading or distracting. So I'm going to tell you I've got one more concern before I sit down. And that is, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I'm concerned about it, so I want to share it with you, since I can't come back up and face my suspicion about it. I'm afraid of why the state kept introducing into evidence still shots of Greg McMichael and various people at the scene. I noted them in the beginning, thinking it wasn't anything to I took down a lot of notes. And then I kept seeing a pattern. And again, you can tell me I could be completely wrong about this. But I'm concerned that Ms. Donikowski is now digging so deep to make this case that she can suggest to me that Greg McMichael was on that scene manipulating testimony.
Hello, Shawender.
Kind of wild when you think that the whole event is on video, and that the people that came in with that video said it hadn't been altered or changed in any way. And that Officer Minshew is there in seconds on the scene, and we see everything that's happening on tri-screen. In fact, weighs him down. But there's photos of Greg comforting his son. There's a photo of Greg McMichael after 30 years in law enforcement having a conversation with Captain Tom Jump. There's evidence that the film, Officer Minshew said, Roddy stopped this on the film, and Greg was able to say, Travis is captured on film. There's a screenshot of Diego talking to Greg, even though Officer Adam Jackson, who testified, said, I spoke to Diego Perez. He said, I got the camera footage, you want it?
Play fake.
We got the security camera footage from Diego Perez and Adam Jackson, unadulterated, and presented to you. So I just have to say, thank goodness that as awful as those recordings are to hear and see, they reflect the truth of what happened, who did what, and why. And there is no way to suggest that there was any manipulation of evidence or testimony at the scene. So now, it's time, very soon, probably not soon enough for you, but very soon, for you to deliberate and reach a verdict rendered by members of your community about an event that happened in your community, Lynn County, filled with communities that are filled with names. Why did it take us 11 days to select it? Well, the media descended on this case. And unless, I think, several, because unless you lived under a rock, you knew something about the case. The facts that were accurate, the facts that were ridiculous, and some facts that were outright slanted or shocked out. And when you're human beings, we begin to form a team. When we begin to hear things that we believe to be facts. And then there's this true story. People posting arguments, comments, and opinions. When you use the algorithm of Facebook, you're going to get more and more of the same opinions and comments and opinions that are like the opinions that you seem to be interested in. And next thing you know, you think that these people's opinions are facts. And the other issue is this is a small group. Many of the jurors knew the defendant. Many of the jurors that were summoned knew Largo. Many of the jurors that were summoned knew people who were close to people who either one of them.
He punted 3 times in the loss last week as he sends this one away. Taken from just outside the 30. It'll be 37 yards. It'll be Titan football.
Because you were determined to be the people most likely to do what I submit to you is
the season. So now it's what you like to refer to, my friend, as gravy time, right?
It is. I mean, he's done it, right? He's accomplished the goal. So
before you came in the finish, to set aside facts that you thought were accurate before you came to court, and to promise with your oath, hand to God, to base your verdict only on what you hear in this court. It's kind of a ridiculous, but it's all we got for these men to have their day in court. And we had to assess, your honesty. We had to assess your candor, your truthfulness, that you would do what you said you would do.
On 2nd and 11 now.
It's incredible, awesome responsibility that you've been selected.
And he's brought down, but not before he reaches the 8.
Jury deliberations are not like a meeting.
I smell blood.
They're not like a business meeting where you're doing each thing or opinions and thoughts. And the reason is a little bit consistent. It's not like going to buy a car and you're dickering over the price. It's not even like the legislature when they're trying to come up with a budget. Hey, this is the stuff I really want in my packet, and this is the stuff I really want in my packet. I'll give up a little bit of this, and you give up a little bit of that. That is not at all how jury deliberations work.
The Ahmaud Arbery trial, closing arguments.
Absolutely no place in the deliberative process. The judge will instruct you. Keep an open mind, talk with each other, consider each other's points of view, but the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is that each of you will form this verdict on your own. You are the gatekeepers of this jury process. You're the gatekeepers of the oath that you each took. If some of you feel strongly one way, and others of you feel strongly the other way, keep talking, keep working. This is important. But you are not to give up any opinions you have, any thoughts and beliefs you have, just to get along or just to be unanimous. You are not to consider what the possible punishment just might be. You can't have the kind of conversation that says, well, you know, that malice murder, that is kind of ridiculous given the facts of this case. So let's just agree on that felony murder. That can't be that bad. It's got to be less than the malice murder. Or, you know, some of you really want felony murder, and some of you really want not guilty. What if we just sort of move in the middle with one of those ag assaults? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I encourage you, I beg you, to slam on the brakes if you hear any conversations like that in the jury room.
Finally, that is
The only thing you're asking yourself is whether the state removes every logical reason for you to doubt that Greg McMichael had the requisite knowledge and intent to execute a citizen's arrest. And if that's the case, then not guilty is the only verdict you can reach. Because every single count in this indictment is so serious. And every single count in this indictment is life-changing for Greg McMichael. Your deliberations should be guided by the rules that the judge will give you.
This will be third and a mile.
If in any way your minds are wavering, unsettled, unsatisfied, then that is a doubt of the law, and you must quit. You can't go up in a couple of weeks from now and regret the decision you made.
So they really needed points here in a two-score game, could not come away with anything there on fourth.
The Constitution, our beautiful Constitution, demands no less than this certainty. The grandparents on golf carts is facilitated.
Oh, fuck, I ran back into the neighborhood.
The couples walking their dogs after dinner in our small town neighborhood deserve no less. Greg McMichael is not a murderer. He's not guilty.
Off the option, here's Henry. And into the end zone for a Tennessee touchdown. Derrick Henry with touchdown number 2.
Thank you, counsel. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take let's take a 15-minute recess, and we'll continue with closing arguments. Again, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves until you've been instructed to do so by the court. Thank you.
All right,
down near the goal line.
Yeah, partner, from what I saw there, not a real good job of matching up defensively, because to me, it looked like they were just in their base 3-4 package. You need bigger bodies in there in a goal line type situation. The 3-4 fine between the 20s, but not down here when you're guarding your end zone.
The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And this will not be brought out. It's a touchdown.
Before we recess, Mr. Goff, you had a matter for the court.
Yes, Your Honor. Over the lunch recess, my understanding is, Your Honor, during the lunch recess, co-counsel had an opportunity to look outside what's going on, and there are some matters that need to be placed on the record.
Picks up the first down, and it slides to the ground. Able to make something out of nothing there. 17 yards and a first down. Here's Murray as he sets to throw it.
One moment, Your Honor.
He's got a man on the crossing route.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm not using any of that stuff. Your Honor, protesters, whether they were the Black Panther group or some other group, were behind the barriers in front of the courthouse. There was a truck carrying a coffin with the names of the defendants.
Oh, shit.
At least one of these groups, I believe it was the Black Panther group, is referenced in the motion filed this morning that their specific objective was to influence the proceedings in this case. I don't know whether they intended to scare the defendants, but I have co-counsel with a small child who was scared to death. Large weapons, apparently automatic weapons.
Black Panthers are down there locked and loaded.
Courthouse. And, given everything else that's...
Somebody ask Dennis why they're there.
We believe at this point it's appropriate for us to renew the motion for mistrial. This court has gone to great lengths to give these defendants...
Oh, he's trying to do a mistrial?
The security precautions that were in place, despite the sheriff's best efforts and Your Honor...
Wow, they know they're losing, so they're calling for a mistrial?
People claim to be violent, driving around the courthouse with coffins with their clients' names on them, with semi or fully automatic weapons. I mean, I'm not sure. This is no longer a figurative mob. This is a literal mob. And inevitably the proceedings, despite that secretary, we would move to mistrial.
Oh, that's it's the defense calling for a mistrial? Or the prosecutor?
Your Honor, our position again is if the jury has been exposed to it, yes, we would be gravely concerned, and we would need them to let the court know that they've seen it, and it's had an influence on. Short of that, with the folks exercising their First Amendment rights outside, and our jury is unaware of it, then we're okay.
And I would agree with Mr. Hogue that that's why we're going to
As they call the timeout defensively.
One more thing.
Not totally home free yet, but it's
To make sure in this most important trial that the jurors are not being exposed to these matters, I would ask the court to affirmatively question them altogether, to remind them, to bring to your attention or the court deputy's attention if they have encountered it or been contacted in any way.
They ask that you deny the motion for mistrial. We'll leave it to the discretion.
Oh, that's the defense asking for a mistrial. They must not be happy about their case.
Mentioned to counsel that I agree with the concern that is out there with regard to the jurors having exposure to anything that may be going on outside. Whatever is going on outside. It was not been brought to my attention on security level.
No! I had the corner. Son of a bitch.
I agree with Mr. Hogue that the court needs to keep a very close eye on whether or not whatever may be going on outside the courthouse is an influence from the jury, and the court is taking steps to ensure that the jury is insulated from anything going on around the courthouse so that they can focus on their business before the court, which would be to consider the evidence presented as well as the evidence of counsel. And I will continue to endeavor to do so.
Court talked with the jury bailiff at all, and also keeping lines of communication with the jury bailiff so that she would say, Judge, there's some murmurs or there's some things being spoken. Is she keeping an active ear out for the court?
Without getting into detail, I will tell you that the court I'm trying to stay apprised of whatever may be going on with the jury. As far as what's going on outside, that's up to whoever's outside, making sure that everything's okay. As far as this jury is concerned, and what may be going on with the effective proceedings in this courtroom, I have tried to ensure that I'm aware of anything that may be important enough to affect the proceedings. And if something did happen, I would probably be bringing it to everybody's attention. Because I think it would be important for counsel to know.
I would probably be.
I wanted to move again that we replaced during the
they're trying to strike a juror.
During my closing, she had nodded off.
Oh, are they trying to say a juror fell asleep? They're pulling out all the tricks.
At one point, I walked through the chair to try to rustle her up, and I even think I thought there was someone that might have even moved his chair, kind of kicked it, and she then still nodded back off again. So I would ask again, since this is now about the third or fourth time that we've had to deal with it, that we have her replaced with a first.
She tagged with it.
Extra point by Blankenship is up.
Here are a couple things right in front of me. I never saw this. Her chair, eyes open.
Because you never saw it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Here I saw, and I was facing this nose while she was talking about it, very closely watching the jurors. And jurors was right in front of me. I did not see her nod off. I saw her actively paying attention to that. That is what I saw.
Well, again,
of course you
start
did.
focusing on juror number 12, or I think it's 6.
Oh, so you won't even dismiss it. Now you're going to start watching. Shit almost over with.
Anyone else at the council table that they would say, I thought that you and I had made some eye contact. I must have misunderstood that I thought you were looking straight at her.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt Ms. Pankowski. I did see it. There were 2 times where I thought about turning over a box accidentally or kicking the table hard.
Got him.
But I didn't want to interrupt her. But there were 2 times.
Hearing a couple different things, so I'm going to keep an eye on juror number 12 again, and ensure I did not see jurors sleeping during closing arguments.
For them, this train, it just keeps
But that, of course, is something, particularly with what has happened previously, that I now, again, start to keep it close.
Those presentations, she may need medical attention. You may have a coma here before I'm done.
With that, let's go back to 10 minutes.
And he'll just sit on this one as their drive will start at the 25. The football going back over to Arizona now. It's now appearing that this losing streak is going to continue. You know, the coaching staff was confident that this was going to be the game to stem the tide, but that just has not been the case. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Chavez. And he'll get this from the 25 to the 30 for a pickup of 5. From the 30 on second down, Murray over the middle, complete. It's Chavez. And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. Murray, one final try.
Damn it, he drove right past.
Left side complete. That's Connor. And he'll go out of bounds after taking it a little further down inside the 40. They'll contain him to just 4. Second down. One final shot. They'll look to throw. One last shot at the end zone. And that will be incomplete. They were going for a consolation TD, but it was not to be. And time has run out now on this game. A big offensive explosion helped leading them to victory. And the defensive guys, they're just saying, hey, put those points up every week. We'll just keep winning.
They will gratefully accept them, won't they? It makes their job that much easier when they're scoring that many points. Allows them to play with a totally different style and a different flow.
So for the Titans, they make NFL history with this, their 17th win without a loss. A perfect 17-0 on the regular season. And now they'll have the week off as they get set to go after a Super Bowl.